Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Homage to our most venerable Pinmat Loku Swamin Wahanse, our teacher Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya, everybody. So you're welcome to learn about our Supreme Buddha today too, with our marvelous sage. Based on the book Avaluku Swaminathan wrote, The Marvelous Sage, the Buddha, or Acharya Manuso in Sinhala translation, English translation. And if you remember, we talked about our Supreme Buddha's first discourse, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, to Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, 5 monks. And then the Buddha gave a Dhamma talk to Satagira and Hemavata, the Yakkars, Deva Yakkas. And then he again, the Supreme Buddha again, gave a Dhamma talk to Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, Kondanya, Vappa, Baddiya, Mahanam, Assaji. What was that? What was the name of that sutta? The second discourse to Panchavaggiya bhikkhus. Anybody else? Anatma Lakkana Sutta. That was the sutta we discussed in our last episode, if you remember. After listening to this Anatma Lakkana Sutta, the discourse on non-self, all these Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, 5 monks, became arahants, became enlightened. They understood fully the noble truths and attained the arahantship. And then, now, with the Buddha, we have 5 Arahant Bhantes in the world. Now we know that we have the Buddha, the first refuge. And then the Buddha's teaching, the Dhamma, we have the Buddha preached. And then we have the Venerable Sangha, triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha available in this world. On the full moon Vesak Poy day, when he preached Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, we had this Sangha, triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, all these. And then, after becoming Arahants, all these 5 monks, Panchavaggiya bhikkhus, someone was looking for the Dhamma, and he comes to the Supreme Buddha to for some happiness. That is the sutta, that is the story that we learned today. That's a really interesting story. Maybe we will start this story with a piece of a movie. Maybe you have watched this movie before. Thus, have I heard? Yes, we will watch that part about about our Prince Yasa is coming to the Supreme Buddha. Let me share my screen, and then you can watch that. Are you interested in watching movies? Okay.
The Venerable Gondanya gained the vision of Dhamma and thus became the first stream enterer.
Excuse me for a while. Do you hear me clearly? The voices and sounds, Subodha?
I can hear you properly.
Good. This is about maybe 5 minutes. We'll enjoy.
Anya Kondanya, Kondanya knows the truth. Lord Buddha, please grant me ordination as a Buddhist monk.
You are now a bhikkhu. Well taught is the Dharma. Practice the holy life and put an end to suffering.
The Buddha gave ordination to Venerable Vapa on the first day of the waning moon, Venerable Badiya on the second day, Venerable Mahanama on the third, and Venerable Assaji on the fourth. On the fifth day of the waning moon of the 8th lunar month, Buddha gave the teaching known as the Anattalakkhana Sutta.
The 5 groups that we take as a self are as follows: body, feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, perception and memory, mental formations, sense consciousness, awareness of mental impressions. These 5 aggregates are not me, not him or her, not mine, not his or hers, not myself, not his or herself. All these things are impermanent and insubstantial. It is their nature to arise, persist for a while, and then pass away.
After listening to the teaching, each of the Pankavaggiya attained to arahantship.
Actually, these women are not so attractive at all. My father built me 3 mansions, one for each season of the year. He hired beautiful maidens to play music and entertain me. I thought I was living a happy life, but now I feel tired of this way of life. Is this all I came into this world for? Are these the only things that can give one happiness in life? Then why do I feel so bored and fed up? How troubled I feel. How frustrated. How troubled I feel. How frustrated.
It is not troubling here. It is not frustrating. Come this way, Yasa, and I will teach you the Dhamma. Dana, or giving, means training one's heart to know generosity, to know sacrifice. Sila, or morality, means establishing one's heart within the full doctrine of goodness. Heaven is the reward for a wholesome heart. The harm of sense pleasures is the heat and worry that comes with attachment to the sense of a self. The benefit of renunciation is that present suffering can be abandoned, with no other suffering taking its place.
After the gradual teaching, the Buddha taught the 4 Noble Truths. Once he had given this teaching, Yasa attained to the fruition of stream entry. Hey, these are my son Yasa's shoes. Wait here, all of you. I'll go after him myself.
Here comes the father. If he meets with his son now, it may prevent him from realizing the Dharma.
You sitting there, have you seen a young man named Yasa? He's my son.
Please take a seat first, and I will teach you the Dharma. And after that, you will meet with your son.
Then the Buddha gave the same Dhamma teachings that he had given to Yasa. Oh, the Buddha has helped gain the vision of Dhamma. I declare myself a Buddhist and take the Triple Gem as my refuge for the rest of my life. Yasa, hurry back home. Your mother doesn't stop crying out of worry for you. Let's go back now, my son.
Yasa has now heard my Dhamma teaching twice and has fully penetrated it. He is now an Arahant with no thoughts of returning to the household life.
Yasa, now you've gained what is truly supreme. I invite the Lord Buddha to receive alms food at my house this morning. Once the wealthy man had left, Yasa requested ordination as a bhikkhu.
Everybody, I think you get that idea about the Prince Yasa coming to the Supreme Buddha for refuge and becomes enlightened. That's the story that we are going to talk today. So if I share more about this with you, like this. All right, the clansman Yasa. Anybody else? Maybe to Kevin and Laura. We'll start reading the lesson today.
The clansman Yasa. At that time in Benares, there was a son of a good family called Yasa. Yasa was the son of a wealthy merchant who had been brought up in great comfort. He made 3 mansions for his son. Yasa, one for the winter, one for the summer, and one for the rainy season.
Sadhu, sadhu. If you remember, our Mahabodhisattva, the Prince Siddhartha, also had the same luxurious life when he was in the palace. He had 3 palaces built by his father for his comfort and happiness. Likewise, Prince Yasa also had such kind of a happiness for his life, built 3 mansions by his father. And they are very meritorious people. Now, Yasa's story, if you remember, he is not happy about his luxurious life maybe in the palace, and he was looking for something different. We'll go furthermore. The next chance goes to Sandesh. You ready, Sandesh?
Yeah, my pen not silent. While Yasa was spending the 4 months of the rainy season in the rainy season house, he was only attended on by female musicians, and he did not come down from that house.
Sadhu, sadhu. So that's how he had his comfortable life. Pasindu, Pasandu, do you like to read the next part about our Prince Yasser?
Yes, I answer. On one occasion, while he was enjoying himself with worldly sensual pleasures, he fell asleep early, and so did his attendants. When he woke up early, the oil lamp was still burning.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for your reading. This is a picture about our Mahabodhisattva. He had the same experience, if you remember, when he was enjoying the dances, musics, and food and everything in his palace. He was worried about the real situation of the dances, maybe. It's the picture you have here. The same thing happened to Prince Yasser because they are like very meritorious people. The next chance goes to Agassi. How about your reading? This is the picture that I got from the movie, actually.
Okay. He saw his attendant sleeping, one with the lute in her armpit, other with the tabor on her neck, still other with a drum in her armpit, one with her messy, others salvating, still another talking in her sleep.
Sadhu, sadhu. So that's what he was like worried about. So he had these beautiful dances, giving him beautiful music and everything to him. But when he went back to sleep, it was not like something very pleasant. He was thinking about that. Oh, what a difference! I don't want to see this. Like that, he was not happy about the real situation, about the reality of the life, and then he was looking for something different. Raymond, uh, glad you're here. Maybe you have a chance to read, if you like.
Yes, Bhante. It was like a charnel ground before his very eyes. When he saw this, the misery became clear, and a feeling of revulsion stayed with him. He exclaimed a heartfelt utterance. Oh, what a suffering! Oh, what a pain!
Yeah, what a suffering, what a pain. He's not happy. See, he had everything in his palace. All the jewelries, all the delicious food, all the three mansions actually, the good parents, and beautiful things around him. But he says that it's a suffering, it's a pain. Gauri and Rhythmi, your chance next.
Yasa put on his golden shoes and went to the entrance door. The Devas opened the door, thinking no one should create any obstacle for Yasa's going forth into homelessness. He went to the city gate, and again it was opened by the Devas. He then went to the deer park at Isipatana.
Sadhu, sadhu. Very good reading. If you remember Mahabodhisattva, when he was leaving the palace, with his great renunciation, all the devas opened the gates because they help these meritorious people looking for the real happiness. They are leaving the house, the comfortable, luxurious houses. And same thing happened to Yasa too. Devas opened. Now this meritorious prince is going to the Supreme Buddha to take refuge in the Triple Gem and to understand. And Chandil, your chance is next. Now the Buddha is sitting in the Deer Park, Isipatana. Isipatana is the place that he gave Dhamma talks, 2 Dhamma talks, actually 3 Dhamma talks. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Hemawata Sutta, and Anatma Lakkana Sutta. Chandel, your chance to read the next part.
Just then, after getting up early in the morning, the Buddha was walking up and down outside. When the Buddha saw Yasa coming, he came down from his walking path and sat down on the prepared seat.
Sadhu, sadhu. Good reading. Pute Buddha had the most compassionate mind in the world. And when he was sitting for the meditation in the morning, he sees all the worldly beings who has good merit, who has the wholesome activities, develops background in their lives, and then the Buddha helps. In the morning of that day, Buddha saw Yasa is coming to the Supreme Buddha to listen to the Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha. And he was sitting outside early in the morning in the Deer Park at Isipatana. Now Yasa is coming. Yasa is coming, leaving his comfortable palace, all the people and everything he had, looking for something very different. Next chance goes to Duin Buddha. Duin, your chance is this. Let me share my screen.
As he was getting close to the Buddha, Yasa exclaimed the same heartfelt utterance. Oh, what a suffering. Oh, what a pain.
Sadhu, sadhu. The same thing he said. Oh, what a suffering, what a pain. See, even though they had very comfortable life, they think that it's suffering, it's painful, it's suffering, it's painful. Why? They are the people who are looking for the real happiness, real satisfaction of the life. You only do it. Your chance is next if you listen to me. See, the Buddha is sitting outside. You only do it. We don't hear you, Buddha. Maybe Gauri.
The Buddha said, this Yasa isn't suffering, it isn't painful. Come and sit down. I'll give you a teaching.
Sadhu, sadhu. Buddha said that it's not suffering, it's not painful. Come, listen to me. Then this chance goes to Senon.
Indeed, this is not suffering. Indeed, this is not painful, excited and joyful. Yasa removed his shoes, approached the Buddha, bowed and sat down.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Who is this Buddha? What's the name of you?
Senon.
Okay, good, good. Thank you for your reading. So the Yasa thought that indeed, I need something which is not painful. I need something which is not suffering. And he came, he bowed to the Supreme Buddha and sat down. And then Senon from Canada gets the next chance to read.
The Buddha then gave Yasa a progressive teaching. Talk on generosity, talk on virtue, talk on rebirth in heaven, talk on the suffering of sensual pleasures, talk on the guilt of a life with defilements, and talk on the benefits of renunciation.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for your reading. Buddha, this type of teaching, especially from the Supreme Buddha, is called Samukkansika Desana. I want you to remember this word, Samuk. You have that on my screen. Samukkansika. Samukkansika mode of preaching. Samukkansika. That is very special to only to the Supreme Buddhas. So the Buddha knows the mind of the people that is listening to him. And he gives the first thing about, here you see, the progressive teaching, talk on generosity. First, he talk on the generosity, giving or sharing the good merit. He directly doesn't go to the deep Dhamma. He gives about the Dhamma talk on giving and generosity. And the next step he gives is talking about the virtue, the precepts. So you know, step by step, he gives his teaching to the people who are listening to him. And then talk on rebirth in heaven. For the good merit, people are supposed to be born in heaven, but this is not the only target of the Supreme Buddha. So the good merit is very important for the life. Okay, that's how he give his Dhamma talk. And then the next thing is talk on the suffering of sensual pleasures. So giving the real thing of the sensual pleasures, which is called suffering, and talk on the filth of a life with defilements. So because of the undefiled mind, the people are worried and suffered in this world, and he gives the next step in his Dhamma talk. And the next talk on the benefits of renunciation. And then the letting go. And then he gives the deep Dhamma talk about 4 noble truths. I want you to again remember the name of the method, which is specially only for the Supreme Buddha's preaching, Samukkansika Desana. Samukkansika Desana. Samukkansika mode of preaching. Dana Kata, Sila Kata, Sagga Kata, giving virtuous behavior and being born in the heavenly worlds, something like that. And next chance goes to
Sarai Pranatsanats, can I read?
Okay, your chance. Is this Hiru?
Ehmai Pranatsanats. When the Buddha knew that Yasa's mind was ready with hindrances, joyful and confident, he revealed the teaching unique to the Buddhas, suffering, its origin, its end, and the path.
Sadhu. So remember, he gave first, he didn't start talking about 4 noble truths for the very first time. First, he gave a Dhamma talk on giving, Samukkansika Desana. And then the Buddha knew that the mind of Yasa is well developed, calm, peaceful, and ready to understand. Now, he is giving his deep Dhamma to Yasa. What is about deep Dhamma? About suffering, about the origin of suffering, about the cessation and the path leading to the cessation of suffering, which is called 4 noble truths. That's interesting, huh? Okay, the next chance goes to Linda.
Yes, Bhante.
That's ready, I guess.
Just as a clean and stainless cloth absorbs dye properly, so too, while he was sitting right there, Yasa experienced the stainless vision of the truth. Anything that has a beginning has an end. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Which is called, he entered the stream entry. He attained the Sotapanna. He understood that Dhamma. So for the first time when he listened to the Dhamma from the Supreme Buddha, he was lucky to understand. Humini and Tinolidua, the daughters, get the next chance to read.
Soon afterwards, Yasa's mother, Sujata, the daughter of the Baron Senai, went up to the stilt house. Not seeing him, she went to her husband and said, "I can't find your son, Yasa." The merchant then dispatched horsemen in the 4 directions and himself went to the deer park at Isipatana. He saw the marks of the golden shoes on the ground and he followed along.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. My question, who was Sujata, Yasa's mom? Who remembers this?
Swanwansa Sujata is before Bhagintanwansa became enlightened. Sujata is the one who gave Giripat Swanwansa cows, milk rice with honey.
Yes, that's how she offered milk rice, a Kiripindu, to the Supreme Buddha before his enlightenment. Sujata, remember Sujata gave Kiripindu. And Sujata's son, Sujata's husband is the merchant in Benares, and then their son is Yasa. See the links, they have the family, they are ready to come to the Supreme Buddha. And then Sujata was looking for her son, and he noticed that his son is gone. And her called his husband, the merchant, and he was looking for his son too. The next chance goes to Erin. Erin, are you listening to us?
Yes, Swami Manse.
Yes. Now the Buddha is sitting with Yasa in the deer park, Isipatana.
When the Buddha saw the wealthy merchant coming, he thought, let me use my supernormal powers so that the merchant, when he sits down, doesn't see Yasa seated next to him. And he did just that.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. What did he do actually? Buddha had a psychic potency to hide Yasa, not to see Yasa, to his father. Why? Why? So if Yasa's father sees his son, he doesn't get the opportunity to listen to the Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha. Now, his father, Yasa's father, doesn't see his son, but he is still there, sitting nearby, but he doesn't see. Okay? Kevin and Laura gets the next chance. See, the pictures are beautiful. Beautiful pictures. This is Yasa's dad, father.
Sir, the merchant approached the Buddha and said, Sir, have you seen Yasa by any chance? Please sit down, householder. Perhaps you see Yasa seated next to you.
Sadhu, sadhu. He questioned, did you see my son? Buddha says, you will see your son. Listen to me. Sit down, he said. It's amazing time, huh? If that happens maybe today, maybe they will yell. I am looking for my son. What are you talking about or something like that? But they did not say that. Because they are the people who came through the samsara looking for the Supreme Buddha. Dimal, your chance is next. See that beautiful picture. He is sitting in the park with Yasa's dad.
When the merchant heard this, he was elated and joyful. He bowed and sat down. The Buddha then gave him a progressive teaching. Talk on generosity, talk on virtue, talk on rebirth in heaven, talk on the suffering of sensual pleasures, talk on the filth of life with defilements, and talk on the benefits of renunciation.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The same type of teaching from the Supreme Buddha, which is called Samukkansika Desana. Samukkansika Desana. He gave the same type of Dhamma talk to his father, Yasa's father. Now, Yasa's father is listening to the Dhamma from the Supreme Buddha while Yasa was sitting nearby, but his father doesn't see his son. Tehan Buddha. Are you listening?
When the Buddha knew that his mind was ready, without
hindrances, joyful and confident. He revealed the teaching unique to the Buddha's suffering, its origin, its end, and the path.
Sadhu, sadhu. Next, he gave a Dhamma talk about on the... Yes, Dehan? You have a question?
No, Swamaster.
Okay, yes. About the Four Noble Truths, the suffering, origin of suffering, cessation, and path leading to the cessation of suffering. Okay, Sayara, your chance. Now see, the first layman to take refuge in the Triple Gem is Yasa's Tata, Yasa's father, Yasa's dad. He is the first layperson taking refuge. Sarah.
Died properly, so too while he was sitting right there, the merchant experienced the stainless vision of the truth. Anything that has a beginning has an end.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. What is it actually? It is the first stage of the enlightenment called Sotapanna. He became Sotapanna. See, when Yasa was listening to the Supreme Buddha, he was fortunate to attain the first stage of the enlightenment, Sotapanna. Now, Yasa's Tata, Yasa's dad, is listening to the Supreme Buddha, and he was fortunate to get the opportunity to attain the same fruit of enlightenment. My question is this: you saw that he is the first layperson who took refuge in the Triple Gem, but there were two people before who took refuge in the Buddha and Dhamma, not Sangha. Do you remember the names of these people?
So I'll answer.
Yes.
Is it Konag? No, Kondanya Vappa Bhattya Mahana Masaji?
No, but I'm talking about lay people. They became monks actually.
Sharna, is it Hemavata and the other Yakka?
So, but I don't hear you clearly.
Is it Hemavata and the other Yakka?
No, but they are yakkars.
Tapaswa and Balika?
Good. Who is that? Dimal?
Kamit.
Okay, Kamit. Yes, Kamit. Tapasu and Balika. Remember, they offered Vilanda and me, Penny, the honey and rice, what is it? Porridge, huh? Rice porridge and honey. They took refuge in the Buddha and Dhamma, not Sangha. Okay, next chance goes to Ranyadu.
He had seen the truth, had reached, understood, and penetrated it. He had gone beyond doubt and uncertainty. He had attained to confidence and had become independent of others in the teacher's instruction.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for your reading. Okay, he was lucky. He was really lucky. Came with your chance.
My son. And he said to the Buddha, "Wonderful, venerable sir, wonderful. Just as one might set upright what had been overturned, or reveal what was hidden, or show the way to one who was lost, or bring a lamp into the darkness so that one with eyes might see what's there. Just so has the Buddha made the teaching clear in many ways."
Sadhu, sadhu. That's how they give their, maybe the gratitude to the Supreme Buddha, the praise. And then they said, or reveal what was hidden. Just as one might set upright what had been overturned. Something like that they say. That's good. Hey, Sali Pereira. Your chance is next to read about the Yasa's dad, the merchant.
Hey, my Swami Wanta. I take refuge in the Buddha, the teaching, and the Sangha of monks. Please accept me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life.
and he was the first person in the world to become a lay follower by means of the Triple Refuge.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. He is the first person who went for refuge to the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Tapasu and Ballika became, he got the refuge in Buddha and Dhamma, not Sangha. And this is the luckiest guy ever in the world, actually, a lay person. Ravin Putta. Next chance goes to you.
While his father was giving this teaching, Yasa reviewed what he had already seen and understood, and his mind was freed from the corruptions without grasping.
Sadhu, sadhu. So, that's amazing, huh? The Buddha gave them a talk to Yasa's dad, but Yasa was sitting nearby, the Supreme Buddha and his dad. He became Arahant. He understood fully the noble truths, the suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation, and the path leading to the cessation of. Now he is an Arahant Bhante. Subodha.
The Buddha realized what had happened, and he thought, Yasa is incapable of returning to the lower life to enjoy worldly pleasures, as he did while still a householder. Let me stop using my supernormal powers, and he did so.
Okay, what was that? Now, the Buddha released his psychic potency. Now, Yasa's dad can see Yasa, who is sitting. Diana.
Sanse, the merchant saw Yasa sitting there, and he said to him, Dear Yasa, your mother is grieving and lamenting. Please give her back her life.
Okay, sadhu, sadhu. So now the Yasa's dad is surprised that Yasa is sitting nearby, and he said, "Your mother is suffering at home. Please, let's go home." Dinodam. Next chance to you. See, now the Buddha knows the real situation about Yasa, because Yasa is an Arahant now.
Yasa looked at the Buddha, and the Buddha said to the merchant, What do you think, householder? Suppose the mind of one such as you, who has seen and understood the truth, with the trainee's knowledge and vision, while he was reviewing what he had already seen and understood, was freed from the corruptions without grasping.
Now Yasa is an Arahant Bhante. Yasa is an Arahant Bhante. You are not supposed to bring him at home. He is not able to lead a lay life anymore. Chamudidava. Now see the beautiful picture. Buddha is giving them a talk, and Yasa's dad is listening. Yasa is sitting back. Yasa is not a lay person now. He is still a lay person, but an Arahant.
Would he be able to return to the lower life to enjoy worldly pleasures as he did while still in a householder? Definitely not, Venerable Sir. But this is what has happened to Yasa. He is now unable to return to the lower life.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now, how do you think about Yasa's father? Maybe he is really happy about his son. Okay. Next chance goes to maybe Nelly.
It's a great gain for Yasa that his mind has been freed from the corruptions without grasping. Sir, please accept today's meal for me with Yasa as your attendant. And the Buddha agreed by remaining silent. Knowing that the Buddha had agreed, the merchant got up from his seat, bowed down, walked around the Buddha with his right side toward him and left.
Good. Okay, knowing that the Buddha had agreed, the merchant got up from his seat, bowed down to the Supreme Buddha, walked around the Buddha, which is called, you say that, pradakshina, with his right side towards him and left. Good. Dehan, you can read.
Knowing that soon after the merchant had left, Yasa said to the Buddha, "Sir, I wish to receive the going forth in your presence. I wish to receive full ordination."
See, Yasa is beautiful in this picture. Yasa says that I want to become a monk, become a Bhante in your dispensation. And Yasa becomes a meritorious Bhante. Dinara, you are...
Yes. The Buddha said, "Come, monk. The teaching is well proclaimed. Practice the spiritual life to make a complete end of suffering." And that was the full ordination of that venerable. Then there were 7 arahants in the world.
Sadhu. The Buddha giving Ehi Bhikkhu Pabbaja, which means like Buddha calls him, "Come, dear monk." And then that layperson comes to the Supreme Buddha as a Bhante, and his head is shaven, he has yellow robes, and he has a begging bowl in his hand, like a Bhante. He comes to the Supreme Buddha. That's a miracle actually, especially for the Supreme Buddhas. And Buddha gave that ordination to the Yasa Bhante too. Now, and that was the full ordination of that venerable. Then there were 7 arahants in the world. Who are the 7 arahants in the world actually? That is my question. The Buddha, Kondanya Bhante, Vappa Bhante, Mahanam Bhante, Assaji Bhante, Kondanya, Vappa, Bhante, Mahanam, Assaji, the Supreme Buddha, and Yasa Bhante. There are 7 arahants in the world now. After this conversation between the Supreme Buddha and the Prince Yasa, Yasa became arahant. Yasa's dad was fortunate to understand the Noble Truths, the first stage of the enlightenment, Sotapanna. And then the next slide is to whom? Maybe to everybody.
Sadhu.
Okay, everyone. This is the story about our most venerable Arahant Bhante Yasa. He becomes enlightened, coming to the Supreme Buddha from a luxurious palace, and he becomes very, very, very fortunate to become to end up the suffering in the samsara. And our homage to the Supreme Buddha and all these 6 Arahant Bhantes, the Dhamma and Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.